actually I wanted to make a last-minute correction of that. The title of my speech today is The Characteristics of a Good Voice. Now, before I begin, I would like to share with a lot of you one of the jokes that I feel that I truly enjoyed over the time, and I still enjoy right now. So it goes a little bit like this. So one day, the scene is in the Oval Office, right? Back then, 4 years ago, when President Bush is presiding over the presidency, and Condoleezza Rice was the Secretary of State. So it goes a little bit like this. So Hu Jintao was named chief of the Communist Party in China. So George was saying, Condi, nice to meet you. What's happening? Sir, I have a report that we have a new leader in China. And Bush said, great, let's hear it. Condi said, who is the new leader of China? That's what I want to know. That's what I'm telling you. George said, that's what I'm asking you. Who is the new leader of China? And Condi said, yes. George said, I mean the fellow's name. Condi said, who? And George mentioned, the guy in China, the new leader in China. And Condi replied, who? Condi said, who is leading China? And wait, I can't Bush. Yeah, what are you asking me for? I'm trying to find out who is leading China. And Condi said, I'm telling you who is leading China. That's what I'm asking you. Who is leading China? And Condi said, yes, that's the man's name. George said, whose name? Yes, Condi replied. Will you or will you not tell me the name of the new leader of China? Condi said, yes, sir. Yes, sir? You mean yes, sir is in China? Condi said, that's correct. George said, then who is in China? Condi said, yes, sir. George, yes, sir, is in China? Condi said, no, sir. Then George mentioned, look, Condi, I need to know the name of the new leader of China. Get me the Secretary General of the UN on the phone. I bet he knows. Condi said, coffee? George said, no thanks. So Condi said, do you want coffee? George said, no, I don't want coffee. But now that you mention it, I could use a glass of milk. So in terms of how we use our language, I think there are a lot of similarities in our names, which is quite humorous, right? So just to reiterate, I really want to emphasize there are a few ways to use, there are a few characteristics where we can use our voice to better benefit in communicating. And one of the main thing that we can use, it will be our volume, right? So when we speak, we have to transcend our voice to make sure that our message is filling up the room and make sure that you're audible. So in a typical small room, you would optimize, or you would vary your voice in accordance to the size of the room. In terms of if it's a large room, then you would obviously have to speak out so that your voice and your message travels across and is audible to everyone present in the room. So another thing that's really important in conveying your message is in terms of emotion. Emotion is something that's very important, whereby you convey how you felt at the point of time. Emotion is also important for you to gain a good acceptance from the audience, because when you communicate emotion, you are conveying conviction at the same time, because you are actually relaying how you felt into the message, and that brings in a lot of weight. Another thing that is really important also is in terms of the rate of speech. And I realized one thing that's very prevalent here in Singapore is that a lot of Singaporeans actually speak very, very fast. I was out with some friends the other day, and obviously they're Singaporeans, so they were speaking really, really fast on a topic, and sometimes it's really hard to catch up. And I realized that's the reason, because they are very used to splitting and going through the message without actually pausing and actually slowing down to make sure that the recipient or the target party actually understand what you're trying to say. So I was actually having a really hard time trying to catch up with the message that they're conveying. But I think what's most important is to understand and to slow down to a point where your message really sinks in. The last and final piece I would like to emphasize or would like to convey is in terms of quality. The quality of the voice is important because it emphasizes on three things: friendliness, naturalness, and confidence. So when you have if you have a friendly voice, you are more likely to gain more acceptance from your speech, and the message that you're trying to convey gets to be are able to be understood and able to be accepted by the audience. And also in terms of the words that you use in your speech, words like positive words like infinite potential really makes you want to feel invigorated and totally charged up in terms of what the speaker is trying to convey. So all in all, I think those are the 3 points that I wish to bring about in terms of in terms of speaking characteristic, and I hope that this speech is able to enlighten you with some of the characteristics that's critical in speaking. Thank you.